Okay, so going to today's topic, I'm going to talk about the universal translator concept, which has been which I want to marry it along with the MDR concept. MDR is the metadata repository. All of us might be knowing. Most of the industry is having a repository to manage their metadata across the systems. So today morning we saw a couple of presentations by Inder and Prabraj. They covered end-to-end automation and end-to-end implementation of machine learning and artificial intelligence. But my topic is going to focus on one use case, that is going to be data transformation. So when I say data transformation, historically, if we see, most of our data transformation happens manually. The moment manual work comes, it is more of inefficient way. The data transformation is going to take a lot of time. And since it is manual, exactly, it is going to create some errors. So through our proposed solution of the universal translator concept, using coupled with the MDR, we are trying to identify the positive pockets where we can expedite the transformation and also increase the user experience for the statistical programmer. We believe the statistical programmer are supposed to do much more greater role in the data transformation, rather sitting and doing the same kind of transformation day in and day out. If you see, most of us are statistical programmers. In today's conference, most of our work involves either creation of SDTM, ADAM, or TLFs. And day in, day out, we just create DM or AE or ADAE. So it's kind of monotonous, and I believe, strongly believe, our programmers are much more capable, and they are supposed to do a job which is really adding value to the clinical drug discovery. And ultimately, this will enable the data scientist or the downstream data reviewers, either it is going to be your clinical team or the statistician. They'll have longer time to see the data, and it is going to be your accurate data. Okay, so what is the role of data transformation in data science? So if you see, say now my database is in production in January, I typically take around 30 days to get my SDTM in production. I take 30 days, additional 30 days to get my ADAM in production. I get additional 30 days to get my TLF in production. So more or less, this takes around 90 days for the data scientist or the clinical team to even have a look into the data. So I can just give you an example which happened this week. So we are Pfizer, we are working on a COVID-19 trial. Most of you would be knowing it. The requirement from the clinical team was, can we turn around and create the SDTM data sets in 2 days? Or even they said, even if it is 1 day, it is going to be great. Or as soon as the data is entered, we really like to see the real-time data. So how can we, as statistical programmers, reduce this time? So from here on, you will see the problem statements, the concepts that we are trying to implement in MDR, and me being the standards team, I would really like to extract the maximum efficiency of using the standards. So when I say standards, this can be either your CDISC standard or even your in-house defined standards. So, so the first business problem, like Abhishek mentioned, this was the first problem that we faced. Where just to give a background, even by 2015, we had a very nice automated solution where the steady programmer, all he has to do is log into the in-house system. We call it as CIDARS. You have to log into the system, select the steady, select the endpoints, and execute. Within minutes, he'll be getting his SDTM compliant data sets, which is like 100% SDTM compliant data sets. But the days were good, but until we faced a major issue where our organization decided to move from Oracle Clinical to Inform. We had this automation programmed for 200 or 300 plus endpoints, but the day we moved to the new ED system, system, the entire automation code just failed. We were not even able to use any single code, and we had to define or create the entire code base starting from the scratch. So this is where we had a trigger in thought, how can we use the existing code? Okay, maybe I need to do like 5 to 10% of change, but still, how can I use the existing code instead of doing everything from scratch? Even if I'm able to use 90 to 95% of the code, just modifying some here and there the metadata, or just massaging the code. And how we are going to use the unstructured data. So in there he spoke about a lot of data coming from Facebook, Twitter, etc. So this just gave me a thought. In 2018 we submitted a drug called Ibrance, and we got the approval, and this submission was entirely based on the real world evidence. It was mostly on the unstructured data. So the Ibrance molecule was initially launched for breast cancer for women patient, and the data that was there in the real world evidence, we used it and we submitted the data, and we got approval for human breast cancer as well. This we did not do any clinical trial. We just used the available data in the real world. So this again, as a standards team, I want to define a method or a structured approach how we are going to ingest this unstructured data. Changing and varying data collection standards. So when I say changing and varying data collection, so this like CDISC might come up with a new version of each of the standard. It can change the CDA standard, it can change the SDTM standard. Every year you might get a new version of the IG. And also additional to that, we have in-house defined standards. For example, in Pfizer, we have 2 to 3 um, versions of in-house standards, and we have to couple them, marry them with the CDAS standards, and define our automation programs. And a holistical view, if we see the automation programs are at many cases are limited, or at situations where we are not able to execute, we have to go for the manual mapping. And the manual mapping is going to be very tedious process, and it's going to take a lot of time. We are going to have inconsistency. We will not we cannot ensure 100% quality of the data. um, okay, so till now we saw about some of the challenges that we faced, and why we wanted to explore the universal translator concept. So now, what are my expectation or my team's expectation? What we'd like to achieve by this solution? We want to anyway, the metadata repository is going to have all your standards, all your artifacts. We want to define a methodology where all these standards are interrelated. So see, if you say take a variable from CDAS, say you take a birth date variable, it has been related to your SDTM. You can see the relationship with Adam. What is the control terminology? How it is flowing from end to end. This, the main advantage of this is it is going to be a seamless integration, and the integration, once it has been defined, once the linking happens, deriving your specification or deriving your business logic is going to be very easy. Oh, sorry. Okay. Uh, how can we generate the SDTM datasets in real time? Like I mentioned, I don't know. I'm having some issue. It is going back to the, I don't know. Pandian, which slide are you able to see?
You are just moving it right now. Just hold on which slide you want. Slide number 5, expected. Just project it, which one you
Okay.
want to see. I'm
Yeah,
seeing a
my full
normal one,
screen
not a
is.
not a full screen.
Yeah, my
Just a
full
screen.
screen is not working. I don't know. The moment I put full screen, yeah. Oh, I don't know. My full screen is not working. I'll continue with this. So the expected solutions, how we are going to generate the SDTM data sets in real time, like I gave the example of the COVID-19 trial. Considering the situation right now, even it makes a lot of sense. Even for us, we can a lot more relate to the trial and say, yes, I need the SDTM data set by tomorrow. I have to produce it. And rapid implementation of new standards. This again, I would like to relate to the COVID-19 trial, where we have already got one guidelines from CDASH. How quickly we are able to adapt to the guidelines, we are able to implement it, understand the impact on the existing standards. So the new guideline has come, it might have impact on the CDASH, it might be having impact on the SDTM, it might have impact on the ADAM. At a single view, how I'm able to see the impact across this data standards. Obviously, I want to reduce cost and timeline, increase quality and confidence. The moment we increase the quality level, the moment the clinical team or the data scientists see the very clean data, the confidence increases, and the submission of the trial goes in a very smooth manner. Um, Coming to the left side, this is the process flow which I have defined. On the left side, if you see, this is our current process flow. Like I mentioned, we have our in-house defined tool, which is called CDARS. So all the statistical programmer has to do is log into the CDARS system, select the study, and execute it. And the right side, you see the PMDR, which we call it as Pfizer metadata repository, having different standards, and it's been related to each other. We would even want to put the protocol defined model, PRM model. We want to have the trial designs, everything managing in one single space, connecting to the database. The execution is going to be the same. But again, how we are going to leverage the PMDR, that is what I'm going to talk. Okay. Coming to this is the blown up view of the MDR. Here you can see the different standards. You can see the SDTM, ADAM, and TLF. These are all interlinked, and these are all version controlled. We are our plan is to have multiple versions management, because we want to support studies with multiple version. The study might go for submission. We definitely don't want to change the version. And if you see the above slide in the left hand side, you see a lot of yellow boxes. These are most of the documents lying in different systems, or even it can lie in the SharePoint. So the MDR helps us to put all these different documents and artifacts in a single consolidated view. And the other main advantage which we want to derive from MDR is integration with the other systems. This can be integration with your downstream systems or upstream systems. So Mayank was talking about 8 weeks for a database build is going to be very high. Yes, it is very high. So if at all we have a standards well defined, we have the protocol well defined in the MDR system, all we can do is just extract the automatic loader of the sheet. This is an Excel document which can be directly linked to your EDC system, whether it is going to be Inform or Rave, and automatically you can configure your CRFs and edit checks based on your protocol and your standards. Okay. So where the universal translator concept fits. So till now I spoke about why we are going for the universal translator concept. So now I'll tell you like what is the universal translator concept. This is not something new. You log into Google, you write something in Tamil, it comes in English. You write something in English, it comes in Hindi. So it is like more of a language independent. It is able to recognize what we are putting into the system, and it is able to give you what you want to look. So that is the main view, the main idea. So there are different standards, different versions. There are changes that are happening to the system. How we can see at a single view, understand the impact, and also at the same time manage the data transformation. I'll talk about in much deeper in the coming slides. Okay, so here I would like to take some time to define how my MDR is being defined. So first phase, what we are trying to do is load or configure the entire foundational metadata. So when we say foundational metadata, we are thinking about CDAS, SDTM, and ADAM. Definitely there is the protocol representation model, the PRM model, where you have the wizards and SAP defined. Operational metadata, this is more of the metadata on metadata. So this is mainly to define the statistical computing environment, where we want the metadata information that has been defined in the system that helps you run the code or run the data transformation. Okay. So what is the kind of integration that we are looking at? We are looking at integrating, I already showed you, we want to integrate the CDAS, SDTM, and the ADAM. Based upon the relationships, we are trying to create the mapping files, which has been automated using the MDR systems, and also manage the e-data coming from different electronic system other than your EDC systems. So this is going to be the phase one of development. Submission deliverable. So another important factor which we are trying to create is extract the submission deliverables or drive the submission deliverables using the MDR system. We would like to have your trial design domains. We would like to have your SDRG, ADRG, and the define.xml. We are also trying to, so when I spoke about integration with the downstream systems, we are also trying to connect it to the Pinnacle 21 system, where it can automatically send in the package and get it validated and understand the issues and warnings. Okay, so this talks about the kind of automation that we are trying to do. It is going to be like metadata driven transformation, metadata driven configuration of the statistical computing environment. So this is again your metadata of your metadata, which helps you in configuration of the data transformation. We'd like to have the auto refresh of the data, like based upon the request from your clinical team, how often you want to extract your SDTM or generate your ADAM data sets. So one simple statistics, when we did, so when we initially migrated from Oracle Clinical to Inform, we had to do a lot of manual mapping for around 50 to 60 studies. So what happens is every refresh, it takes around 3 to 4 hours, get the extract validated, create the package, and send it to the clinical team. At a overall, if you see, there are 5 to 6 resources dedicatedly spending their time just for refreshing the data. This will be your single work environment to see the end-to-end view, giving more visibility to users. I mentioned earlier, this will give you the clear view of how the metadata has been related from starting from your data capture CDAS till your submission metadata. And if at all you are making a small change in your EDC system, how it is going to make an impact in your submission. Here I would like to give one more example. This happened in my previous organization, where the study was about to be going for a submission, and we checked everything, and finally when we created the package, we understood that there was one change implementation which was done in the EDC system, which was never published in your SDTM and ADAM. So the trial was running as such for 2 to 3 years. Nobody noticed it, and we caught only during the time of submission. So one view, it helps to have an entire seamless view of the integration. MDR scalability. So these are the features which we are trying to integrate in the system. When we say we are trying to integrate in the system, a few of things which we might develop inside the MDR system. Few of the things which will be an external system which is sitting on the MDR and helping the MDR run it. So there are many machine learning systems and AI systems which are like a patch. We can just attach it to our existing system and understand how the metadata is being transforming. and use that functionality. Instead of defining again in the MDR, we are trying to integrate these capabilities. So the first one is auto healer functionality, how the XML reconfigures or automatically creates the mapping file. Say for example, you have a variable in C dash and you're making a change in the say variable length. This might be a very less impact, and it could be under the guidelines of SDDM IG and ADAM IG. So how we can define rules in such a way that when this kind of change happens, it can be automatically rendered to the downstream systems. Highlight the impact and the supervised learning. So when I say highlight the impact, so I'm going to, so the database programmer decides to make some kind of change, add a new CRF or delete a CRF or remove some variables. At the MDR level, he can see the impact happening on all the downstream systems. So now he's going to add a new variable, how it is going to impact my reports in the TLFs, how my reports are going to impact in the ADAM level. So he will be able to take an informed decision whether to go with a change or go back to the medical writing team and say and recheck whether that change is definitely required to be performed. Suggestive mapping and mapping intelligence. I really liked the way how Prabhraj put these points. So suggestive mapping is based upon the mappings that has been already done. The system reads and understands the mapping code, and it by itself promotes the mapping. So I'm having a new endpoint defined in my EDC system. The system should be able to read the metadata, understand it, and tell me this endpoint goes to this particular domain in SDTM. And these are the ADAM datasets that has to be created, and these are the TLFs that might be required for that particular endpoint. Metadata awareness. So this for now, for example, CDAS has its own way of naming the variables. SDTM has its own way of naming the variables. So now I have a birth dat variable that belongs to CDAS, birth DTC variable belongs to SDTM. As a human being, I have learned learned these standards, so I'm able to differentiate. But we would like to educate the system and understand if a particular metadata is being fed into the system, it should be able to segregate and tell, okay, this is your data capture metadata, this is your tabulation, this is your analysis metadata. NLP. So NLP concept we want to implement. This is mainly because Pfizer being a large organization, we have very frequent acquisitions, and whenever the new organization becomes part of Pfizer, the new there are like new EDC system coming in, there are new standards coming into picture. So what happens is we don't get the metadata in exact way like how we expected. So what we propose is, apart from the metadata, there is lot of information available in the CRF. We like to understand the CRF, and the system should be able to tell us these are the variables that has been captured, how the metadata has been named in a different way. So you can do this kind of mapping for this particular endpoint. Change management, yes, this is somewhat the same example which I told you earlier. The particular change is being done in one of the system, how it is going to impact in the other systems, and this change has to be cascaded. So once the change has been approved and implemented in one standard, the change has been cascaded across to the different standards. Okay, so we are seeing MDR in a much bigger role. When I talk about MDR, I can relate it to another similar system which is called master data management. This system is widely used in supply chain and also in the early drug discovery process. So what the system does is this system stores the entire metadata of any organization, and it is at a very frequent level. It is being profiled and understood what is the data is being there, understood whether the data is really valid or obsolete. They ensure the truth of the data, they ensure the golden standards of the data, they ensure the data is being protected, the metadata is being protected end to end, and it's being used. This concept mainly we are proposing because standards does not only belong to statistical programming team. There are various teams. There are medical writing team, there are database programming team, data management team. There are different teams involved. So one particular team cannot take the ownership of the entire standards workflow, but we would like to define a new role who takes ownership of or a high level view of the entire standards. And the main action for the data stewards will be act, protect, and collaborate the metadata. Okay, so yeah, I would like to summarize and say data transformation isn't a digitalizing the transformation isn't a luxury anymore. It is going to be more of necessity. I see, in fact, Prabhu covered a lot of things about how we can automate using the ML and AI. There are a lot of ways of achieving the solution, but our proposal and our thought is whether the MDR can play a role in that. With that, I conclude my presentation, and if there's any questions, I can take it up. Thank you so much.